I know everything. These are 11 extra tips for people with customer service experience. So a lot of the time, there are people who are getting back into the customer service industry, or they might just be looking to improve their existing skills. Whatever the case is, I can help you. I have a lot of customer service experience, and I also know everything, so I can definitely help. How can you improve your existingly awesome customer service? So tip number 1, if the customer starts upset, if they call you and they're already getting irritated, and you can tell that they're not having a good day, the first thing you do is to ask them if you can provide them some calming music, or if you're in a retail situation, some candy. So if you're in a call center, you're going to put them on hold and they'll get that calming music. They'll have a little bit of time to calm down before you actually have to speak to them. And then at the same time, the same thing happens in retail. You have a little bit of time to go and get the candy and then come back, and they'll be a little bit more chill, especially because you're getting them candy. Tip number 2, backwards empathy. Now, we hear a lot about how to have empathy for your customer, how to listen to them, but what a lot of time gets ignored is empathy for you from the customer. See, this is an actual really important thing. They need to have empathy for you. A great way to encourage this would be, for example, if your break is coming up, just tell them, I have a break in 3 minutes, so that they know, and they can be kind and give you the time you need for that. Something that I've actually said is, today, my lion ate my iguana, and I'm still in mourning. So if you could just bear with me. And a phrase like that, just giving them a lowdown on what's happening with you will allow them to be more empathetic toward you. Tip number 3, what if your customer is unwilling to give their personal details for you to look up their account? So this happens a lot in call center type jobs where you're answering the phone or you are contacting the customer, and sometimes the customer is unwilling to actually give their information. So what do? Well, what you have to do is create an awkward silence. So just when they've stopped giving their information, or even after they call, and you just ask them what you can do for them, just let them talk until there's an awkward silence. And then to fill it, they'll begin providing you with those details on their own. So it works really well. Tip number 4, small thing, if your customer looks or sounds weird, you need to report that to your supervisor. They will appreciate the extra details and the attention you're giving your work. Tip number 5, mostly for retail, when you're in a face-to-face customer service environment, you're going to want to have business cards on hand. Now, I've discussed business cards in a previous video. You need to have your name, your number, and your favorite color on it for credibility. And in customer service, credibility can be extremely important. So having a business card, just like while they're talking, just go, and then offer it, and then they should take it, because when you offer it like that, most people will just want to take what you're offering. So this is an important tip. Tip number 6. When the customer asks for a supervisor, you need to put on a sombrero, just one of the really big ones that come out really far, after you put them on hold, and then come back on the phone and claim to be the supervisor. What happens with a sombrero is it actually just has this innate effect that it does to the wearer. It changes the accent and the tone of voice, so you'll actually sound like a completely different person. Tip number 7. Let's say you want to move up in your company. What are you going to do to move up? Most people just try to do their job extra well. Well, this is actually the opposite of what you want to do. You should be trying to do poorly while volunteering for alternative tasks. The reason for this is because most people, when they're looking to promote someone, they're not looking for can I take my best agent out of the call center? No, they're looking for somebody who's doing poorly but who still provides value to the company. So you need to be in that ideal spot right in between where you're doing poorly but still providing value. That's when you're going to get promoted. Okay, tip number 8. If you are uncomfortable at work, wear 2 layers of clothing. Wear your business clothing, and then under that, wear casual clothing. And then when you get to your cubicle, just take off your business clothing and hang it over the side. You'll be comfortable all day, and nobody will have seen you. Tip number 9 is for retail. When you are not talking to the customer, when they're talking to you, or when there's a pause, just do a little dance. Just every time there's a pause or you're not talking, do a little dance. This will entertain the customer at the store. It is a great way to maintain customer service and customer satisfaction. Very professional as well. It encourages the customer to see your store and you with a brighter look. Tip number 10, when you're really super busy, chew gum. This reminds the customer that you're busy and that they need to hurry it up. Tip number 11. Whenever you're asked, you need to say you're from Florida. And always have a Florida accent, because nobody wants to mess with a Florida man or woman. And there is a bonus tip for you. This is like my favorite out there tip for dealing with customers. When they begin to get a little bit difficult in any sort of way, you've got to be preemptive. You've got to ask them for their manager. This will give them pause, and it has the effect of rendering most customers pretty docile after that. Those are my 11 tips and a bonus tip for you. I hope these serve you well. Good luck in your customer service position. You are welcome.